Welcome back to the Weathermatic Premier Partner Series. I'm Lex Mason, EVP of Sales for Weathermatic. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Loren McIrvin of Allied Landscape out of the Bay Area in Northern California. Loren shares some really great tips and tricks in how they've transitioned their business from an irrigation repair focus over to a more sustainable water management practice. Looking forward to discussing with Loren here today. This is the Weathermatic Premier Partner Series. Perfect. So the way that these have kind of worked the past couple is, I know I sent over a couple questions and really appreciate the thoughtful answers. They're actually my favorite quote is actually from your very first question, which is talk about how water management has become an important part of business alongside landscape management. And if you wouldn't mind, expand a little bit more on that and how water plays a role into that asset management, resource management initiative.
Yeah, I think on a bigger picture, just from a business perspective, to look at landscaping as just going out there and giving haircuts to the grass and plants is not enough. If we're really wanting to push and elevate our industry forward, it's really going to take a whole new look at landscape management and in a bit of a paradigm shift. I think if we want to control the outcome of what our businesses look like in the future and what our industry looks like in the future, it really takes a proactive approach towards looking at the big picture for the customer. And from my perspective, our customers are asking us to manage their landscape, but they're also asking us to manage their resource that we need to sustain that landscape, and that's water for us. We look at ourselves as boots on the ground for our customers, the eyes of our customers, because we're out there on a weekly basis. I think over the last 15 years, we've seen property managers and community managers become very stretched. They're covering more property, more square footage than they ever have before. And they're looking to lean on vendors and contractors to be their eyes and ears in the field, and to really take a look at the property as an asset as a whole versus taking a look at managing the turf alone. Making sure that we're taking a look at the property and breaking it down as an asset and a liability. For us, that has everything to do with us taking that asset and looking at how do we preserve it, how do we restore it, and how do we upgrade and appreciate its value. And for our customers, the expectation has been we want to make sure that our vendors are doing everything that they can. And for us, that has become a situation where we're shifting more to asset management, looking at the turf along the west side of the property line as an asset that is tracked on its own and has a life cycle of its own. And being able to go to the customer just as they do within their building envelope and know that, hey, this lighting system or this HVAC system is 20 years old. Everything has a useful life, and breaking down the landscape into pieces that need to be replaced, improved, preventative management strategies applied to is the key. And water management for them is becoming a humongous issue in California just based on the rising cost. We have seen a 10% year-over-year increase in the San Francisco Bay Area, and what we're doing is we're going to our customers and saying, we're managing not just your landscape, but we're managing the landscape and the water on the property. And for us, the water is more than just the value of the water. It's the damage it does to the property. We have many commercial properties that appreciate the fact that we look at the damage water does, whether that be asphalt degradation, whether that be building damage, whether that's wood dry rot damage, that we're really looking at the bigger picture as it pertains to water, not just the cost of the water, but what kind of damage is that water doing by applying so much more frequently than we should be.
Absolutely, and that's a great point that I think it's overlooked a lot, is the corrosive nature that water, or the corrosive nature that water can have on materials. I mean, you think about the smooth river stones, right? A jagged rock versus a rock that's along a riverbank, and the smooth edges and just the the harshness that water can have on an environment when it's mismanaged or when it's being, dispensed inappropriately. So you hit on this just a little bit earlier, but how has, by improving that educational process with your clients, by bringing this to their attention as an asset manager, not just a haircut, right? It's managing an asset. How has the attitude around water, what have you witnessed the attitude change be like with your clients around water in the past 5-10 years?
I think people are becoming more aware as to water on a very micro level, tied to water damage and water expense is there. I think we've got local water districts and we have manufacturers like Weathermatic that are putting information out to the clients in a meaningful way that shows them the value of water on a very micro level, but also a big level. So we try to work with our partners, our manufacturer partners, and our local agencies, and we try to echo their voice, and we try to reinforce those messages. I think we've got a great opportunity to collaborate between manufacturers and contractors and local water agencies to really reinforce that messaging and collaborate. What we've been happy to do is we'll put on a series of webinars or seminars for our customers that are meant to educate them on the value of water and the opportunities that are available to them. And we lean on our manufacturer partner, Weathermatic is our partner, and we lean on our local water agencies to get in the room with us and provide that educational experience to where they're hearing it in multiple ways from multiple different aspects. I think the water agency is in there with us with a very unbiased approach and lets people know, let people know in the room exactly what they're seeing on a bigger scale as it applies to a water district as a whole. And then we can get in there with the manufacturer and talk to them about the technological advancements and opportunities that are available to them to reduce water use. And we can dig in on changing the delivery system and converting from overhead sprays to drip irrigation, make modifications to the type of plants that are in place. In the San Francisco Bay Area, we're in a unique Mediterranean climate that we get a lot of water in the winter, and then for the remainder of the year, we don't get any. So that poses a unique challenge to find the right plant material and find the irrigation system that's best suited for that situation.
Absolutely. And that, you mentioned, the ability to bring that before your customers and educate them on technology innovations and things like that have come along that can help them combat some of these pressing issues and do it in a new creative way. And, Loren, I think about what we're doing together. So talk a little bit about how you've changed the way that this solution, a smart irrigation upgrade, and how you're wrapping that in and incorporating it in now as a standard part of the business versus kind of the older way of doing it where, you were selling it as a large capital expense and having to go through budget seasons and wait for approvals. How has that kind of changed the nature with your client base?
I think it's unique, and I'm very appreciative that Weathermatic has thought outside the box when it comes to helping us get this technology into our customers' hands and getting us past that initial capital investment or that hurdle. I think as it was in the past, we would go to our clients and lay out a compelling story regarding water savings, and they would have to push that information up through stakeholders and see if we can get that capital improvement a year from now, 2 years from now, get it budgeted. The fact that Weathermatic is helping on the front end with that capital investment and allowing us to spread out the cost of the equipment, and then offering a unique warranty tied to that has really helped us push things forward with our customers. And I appreciate that. I think it was unique. It's part of the reason why I partnered up with Weathermatic. I think Weathermatic has a history of being an innovator, thinking outside the box. And I think this is another example as to a unique tool that a landscape contractor can use to get over that initial capital investment hurdle And I'm thankful. I'm thankful that you have it, and I know my customers are as well. But it has definitely pushed the ball down the field.
Absolutely, and it's been our pleasure to work with you to build the right model that's the right fit for your customers. Right? It's not a one size fits all, and we recognize that, and we appreciate all the input. I mean, you make us better, and we hope that we make you better there in the water management business. So I'll shift a little bit into some of the operations. Right? A lot of times when you're talking to existing clients and even new clients or new prospective clients, it's how are you delivering service? How are you different in delivering service? So how has the oversight or the remote, kind of 24/7 monitoring, how has that changed how you communicate with a new client who might be asking what you do and how you're different? What's your normal response with how you manage water from an operation standpoint differently than your local market competition?
I think for the future of contracting, it doesn't really matter what industry it is. I think the bar is being set pretty high by good customer service. I think we're competing against companies like Amazon that it is very easy to work with and very transparent how things are happening. I think us being able to go to our clients and say that we are leveraging technology to be more efficient so we can get more done with less is important. I think that's the expectation. I think their expectation from a customer service standpoint is driven by some of the technological advancements we've seen being harnessed by larger companies. As I mentioned, Amazon, I think, sets the standard in terms of making it incredibly easy and fast and transparent as to what you're going to get and when you're going to get it. So being able to go to especially a younger demographic or a demographic of managers, our customers that are looking to see that type of service elsewhere in services and contractors they work with, I think when we can go to them and show them we have visual dashboards that show you what's going on. We are leveraging technology to be able to have better efficiency, to be able to monitor what's going on with the controller and explain to them exactly how that will impact their business. For us, what that means is making sure that we're on the front end of problems versus our customers needing to call us. We do the best we can to get out to every one of our sites that we manage, and we're primarily commercial maintenance, once every 3 weeks to do somewhat of a full spot inspection in key parts of each one of our properties to try to find those problems. And we do a visual inspection of the property every week. But to be able to have a control system that would let you know that there was an overflow situation where there's a broken sprinkler, a broken lateral, a broken main line, to have some of that automation and to explain to the customer what that equals in the past or what that might equal with the competitor or the incumbent in place is you're calling. You've got residents that are calling and saying, hey, there's something wrong, this needs to be fixed. On our commercial properties, that might be an employee or a security guard that needs to call in the middle of the night. But the question is how much property damage occurred and what type of human energy was required to make all of those calls, where if we leverage the Weathermatic technology and harness the automation tied to having a master valve, a flow sensor, a control system that can automate some of those responses like a shutdown and send out a text message and provide a dashboard in the morning for our employees that come into the office saying, you have a problem on this commercial property, you need to get out there and let the customer know. What a valuable tool. It's fantastic. And I think if you can break it down and explain it to the clients that the net impact on you is less calls, less potential property damage, and less of you managing the system and making us aware of issues, and us coming to you rather from a proactive stance with technology and being able to say, this is how much water you've used. I want to let you know you don't have to wait for your water bill. This is a valve that stopped working electrically. The controller let us know we need to get out there and replace a solenoid or a valve. To be able to identify, again, a lateral or a mainline leak, those are all humongous. That's a humongous shift. And I think our customer base is going to start to expect it a lot more. And I think more and more of our peers around the country, really need to harness what's available to you. It's no different than having an air conditioner in your home in the 1970s would be far from the air conditioner that you would have now. It would be different to have a 1970s thermostat on the wall versus some type of smart thermostat. There's just a ton of efficiencies and a ton of energy savings and resource savings that are available if you harness the technology.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. And I'll kind of use that as a segue into our last question to wrap up here. But so often what you just walk through is so, and I fall into this trap too, right? Where, group think is something you've got to constantly get yourself out of and expand your horizons and see and listen and experience what other people are doing. And I know that we have one way of doing things, and the landscape business has different ways of doing things. One thing that's always that we encounter is almost a level of doubt, or a level of kind of discomfort that their techs, that their irrigation technicians and their irrigation department managers can adapt to something that can deliver the kind of product that or the kind of result that you just walk through. It can seem big, or it can seem like a daunting task to try and do it. So how has your team adapted to the elevated service level that you're providing to your clients through the use of technology? How has your team really grabbed the software, and what's been their acclimation period?
I think what's unique about Weathermatic is Weathermatic's been around for a long time, and I think they know the workforce that's working with the system. And what I mean by that is we have tested control systems that are by manufacturers that are new to the industry. And while they might have had some unique functionality, they're missing the intuitive design that comes from an old controller that's on the wall, where our guys have seen some type of dial controller for the last 35, 40 years. Our guys out in the field have seen some type of programming that has been similar between manufacturers. And I think the intuitive design behind your control system enables our field staff to harness that technology a lot easier than some of the other technology we've tried to embrace. So what I would suggest is, one, I have been working with landscapers my entire life. I think landscapers are incredibly intelligent. I think the capacity is huge. I've been working with a staff and team members that English is a second language for my entire life. What I would say is, don't doubt. Try. Things are not easy. Embracing change is not easy, but it's absolutely necessary. And I think as we see technology advance and we see best management practices advance, to not be on the front end of that, to not harness and embrace change, is short-sighted. I would say our entire staff has embraced Weathermatic technology easily, and I think that's by good engineering. I think that's engineering that built off of old designs and things that the landscape industry is used to. I think that was smart, and part of the reason why we partnered with Weathermatic. What I would say also, as it attaches, when you're talking about doubt tied to new technologies, it was important for us to find a long-standing partner that had a lot of time and that would support that new technology. For us, it's less about the widget on the wall as much as it is the manufacturer that will stand behind it, offer that training, and guide us through that. So outside of the intuitive design that was engineered into some of the Weathermatic product line, for us, it has everything to do with the support we're receiving. Regardless of how intuitive something is, bugs come up, things come up, situations need to be worked through with any type of manufactured product. And you really want to be partnered with somebody who will be there for you, will answer a phone call. And that's what I've experienced at Weathermatic, and I much appreciate that.
Man, well, that means a lot to hear, because it's a different model that we've had to build, that we've built outside of the traditional support model, right? So the days of just a 1-800 call center and trying to hunt around for answers versus a when I was originally putting together the program, it was how do we build and scale this thing to the point to where we really can copy the concierge model, and that was the goal. And so I'm thrilled to hear that it's working, and that your team is taking advantage of it, and that we're able to support one another through this technology age, right? So I'll end it. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one thing I do want to add is, as much as I think Weathermatic has been great at developing and engineering new technology, and that the support is there, I think this campaign, Water is Life, that means something to me as well. At the end of the day, offering sustainability for my company and my employees and my customers, it's important. But I do appreciate, as an owner, looking bigger, looking at the planet as a whole. And I can say, outside of the manufacturer support, outside of the good engineering, what you guys are doing as it pertains to giving water elsewhere in the world where it's desperately needed is well appreciated, and part of the reason why we're happy to be partners with Weathermatic.
Absolutely. And that's I always joke. So this is Weathermatic's a family business for me, right? So my father, Mike Mason, is the president and CEO, and has been now for 26, almost 27 years. And so growing up, we would always talk about, well, do I want to come and, quote, sell sprinklers for a living? And it was a funny dinner table conversation going, I don't know if I can get out of bed every morning, and my motivation be to go sell sprinklers or go to build a great sprinkler. And when we had the revelation of how do we take our many, many blessings, as a Weathermatic family, not just the Mason family, but as the entire Weathermatic family that we've been gifted over the years, how do we do something bigger with that? And the first idea was, well, can we build a pipe and, capture all the water that we're able to save our partners and send it somewhere else? And it was like, well, that's probably not realistic, but how else can we do it? And so by partnering with clean water well and clean water project organizations, all around the world, that's been my motivator. And truly, every day, that's what I wake up and I think about is, we take for granted that we can walk over and turn on the faucet in the morning and get clean water and fill up our water bottles, brush our teeth, all that good stuff, and not have to think twice about it. And there is still a good portion of the developing world that lacks access to clean drinking water. So if little old Weathermatic over here and its partners can help impact change, then we want to do that. So I appreciate that, Loren, and y'all's involvement with it. To date, just through your contribution there, has gone towards now over 200 individuals around the world have received clean drinking water based on our partnership thus far. So it's an incredible accomplishment, and we greatly appreciate every piece of it.
Well, and I do want to add just one piece that I think resonates with a good chunk of our industry. The landscape industry has been lucky to have a strong Hispanic workforce, and to see you guys give back to Latin America, I think means a lot. I think our Hispanic workforce and our team members at Allied are just phenomenal people. And we have Hispanic representation on all levels of our company. And I think to really give back and focus a little bit on Latin America and give back to that community is incredibly important. I know personally, Allied Landscape and myself owe a lot to that community, and we try to stay engaged with that community the best we can, and we try to give back, and it's again much appreciated what Weathermatic's doing.
Absolutely, and that was certainly the intention when we had to make the decision of, hey, what part of this world do we want to try to impact? It was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer when we look at how much that community has given to this industry and the makeup of our internal company and what our partners and who they're working with. It was a no-brainer on where we wanted to put those dollars and those resources was to the Nicaragua, El Salvador, and other countries, and South America, Central America. There has been the focus. So appreciate that. Appreciate all that you guys are doing. we want to continue to get better with one another, and very, very many good things here to come. So thanks again, Loren, for joining here, and wish you all the best of luck in the near future.
Same to you. Take care.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.